Where will Pope Leo travel first? The question has sparked a wave of speculation across Catholic circles and Vatican watchers alike. While the exact destination of his first papal journey remains a mystery, one thing has already been confirmed: the man responsible for organizing it. Meet Father José Sales Castañeda, a Mexican priest now entrusted with a high-profile Vatican role. Recently appointed by Pope Leo as the coordinator of his international trips, Father Castañeda will be at the heart of the pontiff's future travels around the world. But for those who know him, this news didn't come as a surprise. Before this appointment, Father Castañeda had already gained significant experience managing complex diplomatic events. During his time at the Apostolic Nunciature in Hungary, he played a vital behind-the-scenes role in organizing two of Pope Francis's visits to the country, one in 2022 for the International Eucharistic Congress, and another apostolic visit in 2023. Now, he takes over the role from Cardinal Ayuso Gixot of India, who had been in charge of coordinating Pope Francis's journeys. That same cardinal had also led the Vatican's efforts in interreligious dialogue, and was elevated to the rank of cardinal by Francis himself. News of Father Castañeda's appointment has stirred excitement back home in Mexico. The nation's Conference of Bishops issued a public statement calling the decision a great honor for the Church in Mexico, and a powerful sign of the trust that Pope Leo places in the country's clergy and its pastoral leadership. Though the Vatican has yet to officially confirm Pope Leo's first international destination, signs are pointing in one clear direction: Nicaea. This journey was reportedly already in the works under Pope Francis and is expected to move forward under his successor. According to sources close to the Ecumenical Patriarchate, Patriarch Bartholomew has proposed a visit for late November, continuing the spirit of Christian dialogue and unity between East and West. And it's not just Nicaea that's eager to welcome the new pope. Since his election, Pope Leo has received a flood of invitations from global leaders. Argentina's President Javier Milei extended a personal invitation during his recent visit to the Vatican. Spain's royal family, King Felipe and Queen Letizia, also invited him during the Mass marking the official start of his pontificate. Even across the Atlantic, the enthusiasm is clear. During a brief but symbolic meeting, the Vice President of the United States personally invited Pope Leo to visit Washington, a gesture reflecting the global anticipation surrounding the beginning of this new papacy. But who is Father José Sales Castañeda, the man now entrusted with planning the Pope's global journeys? Though not widely known outside diplomatic circles, Father Castañeda is no stranger to the inner workings of the Vatican. Born and ordained in Mexico, he has quietly built a reputation as a capable and discreet figure within the Holy See's diplomatic corps. He currently serves within the Vatican Secretariat of State, where he handles delicate international matters that rarely make headlines. His ability to navigate different cultures, languages, and political landscapes has earned him trust at the highest levels of the Church. His most visible work came during his assignment at the Apostolic Nunciature in Hungary. There, he played a key role in preparing for two major papal visits, no small task, given the logistical and spiritual weight such journeys carry. Those who worked with him praised his calm leadership, deep understanding of protocol, and genuine pastoral heart. This mix of experience and humility is likely what caught Pope Leo's attention. In choosing Father Castañeda, the new pontiff isn't just appointing a skilled organizer, he's entrusting a man who embodies the quiet strength of service, one who understands that behind every papal journey lies an opportunity to bring hope to millions. For the Church in Mexico, this appointment is more than symbolic. It signals the Vatican's growing recognition of Latin America's influence and talent. And for Father Castañeda, it marks the beginning of a new chapter, one that may take him to every corner of the globe, always one step ahead of the Pope himself. To understand the significance of Father José Sales Castañeda's appointment, we need to look deeper, not just at the man himself, but at the world he's now operating in. The intricate, often hidden machinery behind papal diplomacy and travel. Papal journeys, also known as apostolic visits, are far more than just ceremonial events. Each trip is a carefully choreographed diplomatic mission, a spiritual pilgrimage, and a powerful gesture of presence. The Pope does not travel as a politician or a celebrity. but as the shepherd of over 1 billion Catholics, and the symbolism of his every step carries weight. Organizing such a trip involves months, sometimes years, of preparation. Every detail, from the liturgical calendar and geopolitical climate to language barriers, transportation security, and even the design of the altar, is scrutinized. A successful papal trip sends a message not just to the faithful, but to the global community. This is the world Father Castañeda now steps into. Within the Vatican's organizational structure, he will serve as the chief coordinator of these trips, under the authority of the Secretariat of State, the most powerful department in the Roman Curia. This is the engine room of the Holy See's diplomacy, and it's where international relations, peace negotiations, and ecclesial diplomacy all intersect. Only a handful of priests are ever selected to serve here, and even fewer are chosen to lead papal journeys. But his appointment carries more than just logistical significance. It is also deeply symbolic. The Catholic Church in Mexico is one of the largest in the world, with over 100 million baptized Catholics. It is second only to Brazil in terms of Catholic population. For centuries, the Mexican Church has played a major role in shaping Latin American spirituality, producing waves of missionaries, theologians, and saints, most notably Our Lady of Guadalupe, whose 16th century apparition remains a cornerstone of Mexican Catholic identity. Despite this, relatively few Mexican priests have held high-profile diplomatic roles in the Vatican. Father Castañeda's appointment marks a shift, a recognition of Latin America's growing spiritual and pastoral leadership in the Church, especially at a time when European vocations continue to decline. And while Pope Francis, himself an Argentinian, opened the door to greater Latin American visibility during his pontificate, Pope Leo seems to be continuing that vision in a new, perhaps more structured, direction. Observers have already noted that Pope Leo's early moves suggest a focus on competence, discipline, and internationalism. Unlike his predecessor, who often emphasized pastoral closeness and spontaneous gestures, Pope Leo appears more inclined toward meticulous planning and global coordination. That makes the role of trip coordinator even more critical, because under Leo, these journeys are expected to carry strong theological and diplomatic messages. But beyond the Vatican, what does this mean for the world? For starters, it signals that Pope Leo intends to be a traveling pope, one who will not stay confined to Rome. Despite his reputation as a more reserved figure, insiders report that Pope Leo views physical presence as an essential part of the papal mission, especially in an age when many feel disconnected from church leadership. His decision to prioritize Nicaea, the ancient site of the First Ecumenical Council, suggests a desire to engage in bold symbolic gestures aimed at restoring Christian unity. If that's the case, then Father Castañeda's role takes on even greater weight. He is no longer just a background figure managing logistics. He becomes the architect of encounters that could define Pope Leo's legacy. Each city chosen, each schedule drafted, each security clearance arranged, all of it is part of a larger puzzle that shapes the face of Catholicism in the 21st century. And then there's the human side of the role. Papal trips are not just political or ecclesial events. They're deeply emotional. They bring together millions of faithful, sometimes in countries torn by war, poverty, or deep cultural wounds. When the Pope steps onto a tarmac, he brings with him the hopes of ordinary people, from the mother who prays for her son's healing to the refugee who dreams of peace. Father Castañeda, in planning these moments, becomes a quiet facilitator of grace. His background has prepared him well for this. In Hungary, he worked during a tense political moment, as the Vatican navigated its relationship with Prime Minister Viktor Orbán's nationalist government, while also upholding European unity. His ability to maintain a diplomatic balance in such a setting did not go unnoticed. Sources close to the Secretariat say he was praised for his calm professionalism and his capacity to work across ideological lines, a critical skill in today's polarized world. Meanwhile, in Rome, Father Castañeda has earned a reputation for being both disciplined and pastoral, a rare combination in Vatican diplomacy. He is said to be fluent in Spanish, Italian, and English, with working knowledge of Hungarian and French, an essential skill set for someone managing international relations. And now, with his appointment, he becomes not just a servant of the papacy, but also a symbol for young priests across the Americas. A reminder that faithful service in the shadows can lead to roles that shape the church at the highest levels. Already, some speculate what his future could hold. In past decades, papal trip coordinators have gone on to become bishops, nuncios, and even cardinals. Their understanding of the church's global landscape, combined with first-hand experience traveling with the Pope, positions them as strong candidates for leadership in both Rome and abroad. Whether Father Castañeda will follow that path remains to be seen. For now, his mission is clear. Help Pope Leo carry the gospel to the corners of the earth, one flight, one mass, one encounter at a time. And in doing so, he begins a chapter not just for himself, but for the Church in Mexico, for Latin America, and for a new generation watching closely as this papacy begins to unfold. As Pope Leo continues to shape his vision for the Catholic Church, another quiet yet significant decision has made waves in Vatican circles. While the headlines focused on global travel plans and international diplomacy, one appointment in particular stood out not for its grandeur, but for what it may signal about the future of church leadership. Her name is Sister Tiziana Merletti, and as of May 22, 2025, she holds one of the most influential roles in the Roman Curia. Secretary of the Dicastery for Institutes of Consecrated Life and Societies of Apostolic Life. It's a long title, but the impact behind it is very real. This dicastery is responsible for overseeing the lives of hundreds of thousands of religious around the world, monks, nuns, friars, sisters, and members of various religious communities. It helps shape policies on vocations, religious formation, governance, and the charisms that define spiritual orders across the globe. It is, in many ways, the spiritual heartbeat of the Church's consecrated life. And now, the second in command of that office is a woman. Sister Tiziana brings decades of experience with her. Originally from Italy, she is a member of the Franciscan Sisters of the Poor and served as their Superior General from 2004 to 2013, a role that gave her global leadership responsibilities long before she arrived in Rome. After her time in community leadership, she remained deeply active in formation and theology. She holds a doctorate in canon law and has taught at the Pontifical Antoninum University in Rome, a respected center of Franciscan scholarship. Her academic work focuses on religious law, community structures, and the evolving identity of religious life in the modern world. She is not new to the Vatican either. Over the years, Sister Tiziana has contributed to various advisory groups, helping the Church navigate everything from declining vocations to internal governance challenges within religious orders. Those who have worked with her describe her as reflective, principled, and deeply respectful of both tradition and reform. But now, she steps into a different kind of spotlight. This is not the first time a woman has held a senior curial post. Pope Francis made history in 2021 by appointing Sister Raffaella Petrini as the Secretary General of the Governorate of Vatican City, effectively putting her in charge of the day-to-day administration of the Vatican itself. Other women have since been appointed to roles in the dicasteries for bishops, laity, and the economy. Yet, each new appointment still carries weight, not just because of who is chosen, but because of what the role represents. In the case of Sister Tiziana, it is about more than gender. It is about trust, about competence, about a life dedicated to prayer, community, and service, now being recognized at the highest levels of church administration. Her role, practically speaking, involves coordinating with bishops, superiors general, and Vatican officials to manage the structures that support religious life. She will be involved in decisions about the approval of new communities, investigations into failing ones, and recommendations for how religious life can flourish in a rapidly changing world. And make no mistake, religious life today is at a crossroads. In many parts of the world, especially in Europe and North America, vocations to religious life have declined sharply over the past few decades. Many convents and monasteries are aging. Others are closing. Meanwhile, in parts of Africa, Asia, and Latin America, new communities are growing rapidly, often with different needs, expectations, and cultural expressions of religious devotion. Navigating this dynamic terrain requires deep understanding, cultural awareness, and theological wisdom, qualities Sister Tiziana is known for. But her appointment also raises questions that Catholics have been asking for some time now. What should be the role of women in church governance? Can women, particularly women religious, help lead the church not just spiritually, but structurally? And should roles of leadership like this one eventually open the door to even greater responsibilities? To be clear, Sister Tiziana's appointment does not change doctrine. She is not a bishop, and she is not a priest. The office of secretary is not sacramental, it is administrative. But it does carry real influence. It shapes decisions. It sets tone. And for many observers, it reflects Pope Leo's willingness to continue, in his own quiet way, the reforms begun under Pope Francis. For others, the appointment is simply about merit, recognizing those who are qualified, regardless of gender or background. Sister Tiziana has already proven herself in community leadership, academic research, and Vatican collaboration. This new position is a natural extension of the work she's been doing for years. Still, not everyone agrees on what this trend means. Some traditionalist voices have expressed concern about the increasing presence of women in curial leadership. They argue that the Vatican should prioritize clarity about sacramental roles and avoid confusion between service and ordination. Others worry that the Church might slowly adopt secular models of equality without sufficient theological reflection. But many Catholics, especially younger generations and lay religious, see these appointments as signs of hope. They believe the Holy Spirit works through all baptized people, and that service at the Vatican should reflect the diversity of gifts present in the Church. The truth is, no single appointment defines a papacy. But each decision adds a brushstroke to the portrait of the kind of church a pope envisions. With Sister Tiziana Maletti now helping to shape the future of religious life across the world, and Father José Sales Castañeda coordinating the Pope's journeys to every corner of the globe, Pope Leo seems to be quietly building a leadership team that is thoughtful, experienced, and representative of a truly global church. Only time will tell what fruits this will bear. But for now, we turn to you, the viewers. What do you think of this latest appointment? Do you see it as a hopeful step forward? A continuation of Pope Francis's legacy? Or simply a reflection of competence and trust? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this video insightful, consider sharing it with someone who's interested in how the Church is evolving under Pope Leo.